Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm bringing you my June TBR, and this is the lovely stack of books that I have on that list. So there's no rhyme or reason as to why I picked these books. They just spoke to me and I thought I'd put them on a list and hopefully get to them in June. So in June I am attending a festival for books, the Science Fiction, Fantasy and Horror Festival, which is going to be really exciting. I am currently reading a book for that. I'm currently reading Curdle Creek by Yvonne Battle Felton whilst filming for this. So if I don't finish this by the time June comes around, this is also included on that list. I finished Hungerstone by Kat Dunn as well for that festival. Just trying to catch up on some of the books for the panel discussions, so I'm really excited to be going to that. Yes, so that's happening in June, and I'll be picking up books and probably going to start reading those as well, but priority is to read the current books I have on my shelves and then also read down my library holds. At one point I had 12, and in May I read 6 of them, and now those are off my shelf. I have one left, so that's going to be on June's, and then I will be up to date. Unless my hold for Riley Sager's new book comes in, then I think we will have another hold from the library. But I am first on that list, so once they get the book I should be the first person to read that one, so that's exciting. But anyway, that might not be until later in the month, so I may get through a lot of these before then. Let's get talking about the books that I want to read. So starting off with a thriller, and that is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanagh. This is a thriller. It is set in New York City and we're following two people who decide to kill for each other. I've never read a book by Steve Kavanagh. I'm just really excited to delve into his writing, and I'm on this thriller kick. I don't know if you've noticed with my videos or anything, but I am trying to get through a lot of thrillers and trying some new authors out as well. So I'm excited to get to this in June. Next we have a pre-order that came in, and this came in like January or something like that, so it hasn't been on the shelf for too long, but I do want to read it because everybody has been talking about it, and that is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This is a gothic folk story, I've heard. The tagline is what sold it for me. Not every fairy tale has a happy ending, and I'm just like, yep, I will read anything like that. So I thought I would put this one on this list, and I just love this cover. It is so stunning. And I think that Chris at Secrets Reads didn't really like this book recently, so I am intrigued to see how I feel about this book. Another folk story I have on this list that I've been meaning to pick up for so long. It's just been sat on the shelf for too long, and I feel like now's the time. And that's Starve Acre by Andrew Michael Hurley. This has been everywhere. Anytime you recommend folk horror, this book pops up, and you've probably seen it on one of my Instagram graphics as well. So it has to be read. It's super short. I could read this in a few days, and I thought now's the time. I can finally read this book and say that I have read it. So yes, I don't really know too much about it. I know that this has a adaptation as well, so I'm interested to watch that once I've read it. But basically this is following Richard and Juliet, whose son had died, and their house by the moors was said to be full of life but is now a haunted place. So the book follows grief and how it can split a world into two. Searching for hope and unearthing horror sounds right up my alley, and I feel like this might be a 5-star read, so I'm very excited to pick this one up. The next book I'm going to show you is one that's on my self-destructing books. If I don't read it, I'm going to unhaul it. but I mean, if I don't like it, I'm gonna unhaul it anyway. But I thought I would give it a shot in this month, and that is Blood and Ice by Robert Masello, and it is a supernatural thriller. So yes, this was recommended whenever I was looking into polar horror stories. This one is set, I think, in Antarctica. Yes, in the frozen beauty of Antarctica on a remote research station. And so it's like on a diving expedition in the polar sea. Michael Wilde stumbles across something extraordinary and almost unbelievable. A man and a woman chained together deep in the ice. The doomed lovers are brought to the surface, but as the ice begins to thaw, the scientists discover unusual contents of the bottles buried beneath the pair and realize that they are all in terrible danger. So it's kind of like releasing a monster, basically, from Antarctic ice. It sounds very intriguing, and I know that it's summer, but I'm somebody who always craves the cold when it's too warm, so I thought I would give this one a shot. Dream about being in the colder months, being in Antarctica, and hopefully this is very atmospheric. So I'm really excited and kind of scared to delve into this one. The next book that I am hopeful to read, and that is Last Seen by Lucy Clark. This is my final library hold that I want to read. I took out a lot of Lucy Clark books recently to try and figure out which one I really do prefer to read. Lucy Clark is a writer of summer thrillers, destination thrillers, should I say. Currently my favourite is The Castaways. I give that a 5-star, it was incredible. I have also read The Hike, One of the Girls, The Surf House, and also then hoping to read Last Seen. So this is set in a small seaside community where someone's always watching. So 2 boys go missing at the sea, and only one comes back. So Sarah's son, who survives on the anniversary, goes missing, and so she's on a search again, and she doesn't trust anyone on this seaside town. So I am very hopeful that this might be interesting to me. I really do love Lucy's writing, so yes, I am intrigued. This is one of her older books, I believe. I think this was published in the 2010s, 2017, so it is one of the older books. So I'm wondering if maybe this style is different because this is a previous work, whereas the other stuff I've read have been more recent. But yeah, I'm still excited to give this one a go and see if I enjoy it. I think I read Castaways in a day. Like, that book hooked me so much, and I am so excited to read some more by this author. Next hopeful book on this list is Notes on an Execution. Now, I've had this book for a long time. Like, it's been sat here and I look at it and I go, is it time? And I just never pick it up. So this time I said, yes, it is time to give this one a go. So I am really intrigued by true crime stories and following the journey, not of just the killers, but also the victims too. I feel like that often gets overlooked. One book I read recently was The Quarry Girls by Jess Laurie. This book was centered around a real life crime, but rather than following the serial killer, the storyline followed the victims and the victims' families, and it really does give an insight into how that feels for someone to go through. And I feel like, having read that book, it's probably time to read Notes on an Execution. A killer is on death row and set to die in a few hours. This story is following the women who survived him, a mother, a sister, and a detective. They reckon with the choices that culminated in tragedy, the impact on those in its wake, and the possibility of redemption. So it's following the victims and the detective, their perspective in the lead up to the person's death who is on death row. I have a feeling it's going to be good if the writing is up there for me. Sometimes I struggle when a book has a good concept but the writing just doesn't match that. So the concept sounds incredible and something I would probably love. Let's just hope that the writing does come through for this, but I am excited to pick it up. Next up we have another thriller story that I know is going to be a 5-star read for me, and that is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I adore this author. I've read one book by this author and I know everything they write is going to be a 5-star. I read All the Sinners Bleed a few years ago. I got that as an ARC and it is incredible. It's one of my favourite thrillers, and people say Razorblade Tears is better than that book, so of course it's going to be a 5-star then, isn't it? So Razorblade Tears is essentially, I think, a story around grief and revenge. I'm very intrigued to read this and to see what the hype's about, and if this author actually does remain a 5-star author for me. Finally, the last book on this list is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. So I picked this one up a while ago. Again, shocker. It's been sat here for a little while. This is a weird sapphic story. People love this so much, so I'm intrigued to see if I like this as well. I'm not a fan of the cover, I will say. Like, what's with the box around the picture? I'm not sure, but yeah, it's intriguing to say the least. I'm wondering if it does have a lot of descriptions about the deep sea mission and what actually happens in the ocean. Despite the dogs interrupting me a little bit outside, thank you so much for watching this and hearing all the books that I want to read in June. The dogs are back. Let me know in the comments if you've read them, what you thought of them, which book I should pick up next. Let me know what you're reading in June as well. Let's have that conversation, and I guess until next time, keep your pages turning and embrace the darkness. Bye!